Jinadu, Professor Sambo is the person I was calling to speak. Is he around? Okay, he's there. Please give him the microphone.
Mr. Chairman, sir, distinguished delegates, I am Professor Sambo Jinadu, elder statesman from Sokoto. Let me first contribute on Mr. President's speech, which comprehensively touched on several aspects of our lives as Nigerians. I have been impressed by the sincerity imbued in the speech. Many esteemed delegates who spoke before me have expressed their appreciation, confidence, and expectations from Mr. President's speech. My feelings concur with the majority of feelings expressed by those who spoke before me. My appeal to the government is for it to implement decisions amicably, which have been amicably arrived at, so that at the end of it all, we Nigerians will achieve three elements of unity. The first element is unity of purpose, unity of faith, and unity of language. For any country to develop, it has to have these three elements together. If we look around, any country which we see as developed must have developed unity of purpose, unity of faith, and unity of language. What I mean by unity of purpose, we must have our objectives clearly outlined so that we work towards achieving those objectives. We must have unity of faith. In other words, every individual is free to practice his or her own religion in whatever way, as long as that does not contradict the peaceful coexistence of this great country of ours. We also need to have unity of language. I know we have adopted the British language, that is the English language, which we use to communicate to each other. But that does not suffice. We are doing it only as a temporary measure. I hope by the end of the century, Nigeria will have its own national lingua franca, so that we can take any of the languages. It could be a majority language or minority language, I don't care. What is important is we teach these languages in our schools so that by the end of the century, Nigerians themselves at that time will automatically adopt a language without even feeling that they are adopting a language which is not their own. Secondly, I would like to allude to the question of justice. I happened to be a member of Presidential Committee on Prerogative of Mercy several years ago. I visited most of the prisons of this country, in the north, in the east, in the south, everywhere. Kirikiri. I visited all the prison yards. My request is that the voiceless, those who have been imprisoned through no fault of theirs. There should be a constituted committee of judges who will periodically visit those prisons and see those who have been imprisoned or detained for over a decade just because he stole a goat, which was not more than 5,000 naira. So I think justice must be seen to be going on in this country. Many of them have been imprisoned without a just cause. Perhaps a police officer who was trying to maintain peace and justice just apprehended him or her, and she or he found himself or herself in prison. And he stays there.
Wind up, please.
All right, so I will wind up now and say, I also, referring to to security, I recall with nostalgia what happened in 18th centuries when Sultan Bello was the Sultan, and a woman can take a casket of gold on her head throughout the domain without being molested. Today, the opposite is the case. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, sorry. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Junji Barrister Nasiru Ibrahim.
Yes, my Lord. Thank you, my Lord, the Chairman, distinguished delegates. My name is Barrister Nasiru Ibrahim Junju. I represent the third tier of government. I also hold the traditional title of the Isan Gwandu in Gwandu Emirate, Kebbi State. My Lord, I stand to be associated with the positive comments, analysis made by our respective and respected delegates, and I wish to be associated with the positive comments made by our respected delegates, mutatis mutandis. My Lord, on the speech of Mr. President, I hold the view that Mr. President has set a standard. He has placed a burden and responsibility on each and every delegate in this conference. If I extend the interpretation, I would rather say he has equally set a trap. What do I mean? On page 19 of the president's speech, he addressed distinguished delegates as men and women of honor and integrity. That each and every delegate here is a man or woman of honor and integrity. And we have not completed our assignment. So if we are unable now to come up with ways that will make this country greater than it is, more united than it is, then there is a big question mark on our faces. So there is need for us to look at this statement made by President by referring to us as men and women of honor and integrity. My Lord, I represent the sector of government, and I need to say one or two things about it. My Lord, time has come for this country to allow us have an autonomous local government council in Nigeria. Local government council in Nigeria have been held or are being held by the jugular. They cannot move forward, they cannot move backward, they cannot even breathe. There is need for our state governments to allow our local government council to work in this country. My Lord, I hold the view that the precarious nature we have found ourselves in this country is because the local government council are not working. If they are working with the cooperation with traditional institutions, we'll be able to handle the issue of security in this country. So the earlier this issue is tackled, the better for this country. My Lord, I want to give a piece of advice to the leadership that in the appointment of chairman and vice chairman for committees, please, my Lord, beware of extremists. Any person that is found to be an extremist in whatever form, please don't make him a chairman or deputy chairman for us to move forward. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. May God build this country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Kaigama Bopai Bala.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished delegates, permit me to stand on the existing protocols. I am Comrade Bopoi Bala Kaigama, President, Trade Union Congress of Nigeria. I am representing the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria in this conference. Mr. Chairman, sir, all that has been said by speakers before me with regards to the speech of the president, I ally myself totally with them. The president has said it all. But one thing that he omitted, which is in our character as Nigerians, and which I will urge us to, at the end of our individual interventions, to say to Nigerians, particularly those below the age of 18, is to apologize to them for our misdeeds by ourselves and our leaders now and those in the past. I say all of us because if you are in this country, whether youth or elders, we share in the blame. So there shouldn't be the elders have the blame or the youth have the blame. All of us have it. So we should apologize to Nigerians below the age, that is below voting age. Why I say that, Mr. Chairman, is that if the youth, like I experienced and I have been advising them over the years, claim they are to be exonerated, I keep asking them. We have over 80 million youths in this country. And in 2011, the presidential candidates of all the political parties had collectively less than 50 million votes in this country.
Should be winding up, please.
If the youth of this country have their 80 million votes together, they will determine the future of this country. So they have shares in the blame. Mr. Chairman, I'm here on the platform of organized labor. Organized labor is a pan-Nigerian organization. We have stood our grounds to ensure that this country is united, and will continue to encourage and preach the unity of this country. And in that light, Mr. Chairman, we suggest that trade unions and civil societies should be given their right of place. We urge that.
Please wind up.
Trade unions and the issues connected thereto should be maintained on the exclusive legislative list, because it is the only pan-Nigerian organization. There's this Hausa saying which says that, and I interpret it in English. Trade unions in this country are like our buttocks. If you don't like it for the purpose of
Mr. Speaker, please wind up.
you will like it for the purpose of the sheet you will excrete. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much.
Thank you. Kawu Ishak Modibo. Kawu Ishak Modibo.
My name is Ishak Modibo Kawu. I am a fellow of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Mr. Chairman and delegates, our country, Nigeria, matters. We're the only African country with the tremendous possibilities of becoming a great power. But we face very serious problems, a deformed political structure, and an economy that has not worked since the mid-1980s, when we began the implementation of structural adjustment policies and neoliberal economic policies. What we have done is to create one of the most unjust and most unequal societies in the world. We have transferred public assets into the hands of private cronies of people in government and in power. And according to the National Bureau of Statistics, because of the economic conditions we have created in our country, 115 million Nigerians live in poverty. 64% of the urban population live in slums. And extremities of wealth live side by side with extremities of poverty. The nature of the economic doctrines we are implementing in Nigeria will create a few billionaires, yes, but it will create on its side very, very poor people, leading to crisis situations. The Nigerian Reverend Father, George Ehuzani of the Catholic Secretariat, did a study of crisis in Nigeria between 1999 and 2007. And he discovered that most of the crises we have faced in Nigeria took place between the hours of 12 noon and 6 p.m. Those are the hours that people should be working. Nigerians are not working. Majority of Nigerians today are young. 45% of the population is under the age of 15, 63% under the age of 25, 75% under the age of 35. As a matter of fact, the people who are 65 years old and above are only 3% of the Nigerian population. And most of the political crises we face are coming from people in their 60s and above who still have a mindset of the 1940s, and they want to impose the 1940s and 1950s on our country. Young people, the working people in the rural areas and urban cities, women, and the physically challenged are the most important people. And how we treat them into the future will be the future of our country and how we'll move forward. We have to put Nigerians to work. If we do not have people working, we are going to continue to have the crisis that we face. People were talking about sending a letter of felicitation to an old man, but so many other people have been kidnapped all over the country. People are dying on a daily basis because this economy is not working for the majority of the Nigerian people. Neoliberal capitalism is a crisis that is facing Nigeria. If we do not have Nigeria running on the basis of a patriotic economic agenda, where the people of Nigeria are central to the reality of economic life, we'll continue to have all the crises we have. No amount of praying in mosques and churches will change that reality. And one of the major issues that's arisen since 1999 is that we have now created a situation where, as a result of privatizing everything, we have governors who have ruled Nigeria.
Wind up, please.
Yes, who have become richer than the country itself, the states they run. On a final basis, on a final note, sir, we're talking of restructuring Nigeria, and people talk of the 6 geopolitical zones. I think it's absurd. Let's think about the 12 states of Gowan. 6 states in the north, 6 states in the south. Then you have a balance. And then for my fellow delegates, I am an editor of a newspaper. Or I listen to people say, my names are. Children are listening to us in schools, and we confuse them. There is nothing like my names are. My name is. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Halil Ibrahim. Halil Ibrahim.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is... Fortunately, I have only 2 names. I am Ibrahim Khalil, the National President of the Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees, one of the delegates representing organized labor. Mr. Chairman, let me quickly join other delegates in appreciating Mr. President for his wonderful speech and for the convocation of this very important conference. I'm indeed inspired by most part of the President's speech, but for the purpose of my contribution, let me quickly go to page 7, where Mr. President stated, to be successful, nation builders must strive to involve better and inclusive society in which every citizen is proud and committed stakeholder. Well, this statement of Mr. President is very weighty, and I believe that the problem we are facing as a nation is because of our failure to carry majority of Nigerians along in our our respected professor, last week, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, made statement by quoting the two Africans United Nations Secretary Generals, where they made mention that where you have a policy of escalation, you are bound to be in conflict, you are bound to have rapport. What we are witnessing today in Nigeria is as a result of our to carry people along. We are a diverse nation, and to me, the best system, the best structure that can address and accommodate our diversity in this country is by strengthening the system of local government. From 1999 to date, local government has been experiencing encroachment from the state government. All manners of experiment, be it political, administrative, have been practiced on local government by the governors. The local government has been treated with contempt. Local government is treated with insult. Local government has been rendered impotent. Election into local government councils are conducted and organized by governors at will. This is unacceptable, and this will never anyway, enhance the inclusiveness we are preaching. So the issue of local government elections should be taken very seriously in this conference, and people at that level of government should be allowed to participate freely to elect their representative from ward to chairman level. Civil service of local government have been bastardized by the governors. Appointment to administration of local government is always at will. The issue of primary education is also being bastardized. You can go to so many states in this country, you will find out the appointment of local education secretaries is by selection, not by merit. Where you find out the most junior officer is placed on top of the senior to administer the local education. How can we address the primary education issues? The traditional institutions at that level of government have been shortchanged, have been treated with disrespect. They have not been carried along, and that is why the issue of insurgency everywhere. When we commenced this dispensation in 1999, you all bear me witness when the election into local government was conducted freely, and they have the mandate of their people. We have not been passing through all these menace of insecurity, insurgency, and what have you.
Please wind up.
So, Mr. Chairman, I believe the best bet for Nigeria to accommodate our diversity, as I said earlier, is by strengthening institutional frameworks of government to deliver and accommodate every ethnicity, every group along. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Kila Engineer Senator Adefemi or Adelemi. Adefemi.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, sir. Fellow delegates, my name is Engineer Senator Adefemi Kila. I represent the Nigerian Society of Engineers as a delegate in this conference. I want to ally myself with the good commendation adduced to Mr. President's speech. It's a very good speech that deserves a national award. If we are in a position to so do. Last week, the deputy chairman mentioned that one of us here